Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Fools Rush In STFC podcast. It's been a fairly quiet week at SM1. Not a lot of news, but thanks to the panel and the team behind our episodes, and you guys that listen and watch and sending in all of your questions, we have probably more content than ever to discuss tonight. So let's dive straight in by introducing today's panel. As you appear on my screen, hello Ben, how are you?
I'm very well, Stephen. Yourself?
I'm very well, very well. Thank you for asking. Christian, hello.
Hey, good evening, everyone. How are you?
Very well. Nice to have you with us. Woody is here. He's slightly distracted by emails of complaint, but he's here.
Good evening. Hope you're well. I'm hoping no internet issues tonight.
Let's hope so. And well, I'm not entirely sure what he's doing, but Kieran's here as well.
Walking to Sainsbury's, mate.
I like the
Christian rang me and
professionalism. I like the approach that even on your way to the shop, you had to make sure you made your appearance. Since we last met, we Town have played 2, lost 1, won 1, a goal aggregate of 0 between the 2 games. Woody, let's start briefly, if we can, with the loss to Tranmere. And needless to say, the WhatsApp chat between us all did not shut up for the whole 90 minutes, with Ned in particular getting very angry as the minutes were going by.
Yeah, it was just a really, really poor performance, more than anything, I think is probably the roundabout way of putting it, in complete contrast to this Saturday, really. But everything about it, the way we even, I say, managed the game, we didn't manage the game at all. The defending wasn't particularly great. I don't really remember much of the game, to be totally honest. Just remember being really hacked off because it's the first game I've actually paid to watch on TV this year. But yeah, it wasn't what we needed at all. But it was just poor. I can't remember it well enough, if I'm brutally honest. Really bad goals to give away. We must have known that although Tranmere don't score that many, we must have gone up there knowing that they do well at home. So we had no reason not to be prepared for it. We played long enough without the likes of Jack Payne and things like that now. So it just didn't make sense for the adjustments that weren't made, which, you know, is in a bit of a contrast to Saturday. And
Ben, it came at a time where morale amongst the fans, as we discussed on last week's episode, it was low. There were already some questions starting to be asked of players, of the coaching staff and stuff. So really the result came at completely the wrong time. Not that there's ever a good time to lose, but completely the wrong time, didn't it?
Kind of echoes of last season, the performance, the just non-existence of any sort of quality among the players, and the fans saw this coming, and they kind of expected to get beat. We all thought we'd get beat. We all thought we'd get probably beat handsomely. Apart from Christian, who actually said we'd draw. But yeah, I think we were all expecting a hiding. We all saw it was coming. It happened. We didn't ever look threatening, and we got schooled from the first minute to the last minute. It was easy. It was probably the easiest game in the season. And the worst thing about it at that time, I think, was just, which reminded me of last season, was he didn't change up. He didn't change anything when we really needed to do something a bit different to what we did every week. And we didn't. And we played our worst performance of the season, and we got thrashed, and it was just really deflating. And everyone lost their heads because we all saw it happen. Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty bad.
And on that subject, Christian, I mean, it's been said now for a while, and it's obviously highlighted when there's a poor performance or a negative result. But on the one hand, you always respect managers who have a style of play and they stick to their beliefs, and this is how we're going to do it. But especially in League Two, you have to have that plan B. You have to have that ability to change it up, don't you?
Yeah, you think so. I mean, and credit to Garner, you know, he did do that for the Scunthorpe game on Saturday. I think he did make the adjustments. My criticism would be, it was probably 2 or 3 games too late. But because of where we're sat in the table, you can sort of cut him a little bit of slack. And if he's made a mistake, he's probably made it right now by showing that he can do that, but he needs to keep doing that, and he needs to appreciate that you can't just sit, because we all knew going to Tranmere. And if I sit here and I start giving you a bloody lowdown of Tranmere and how poor we are, it would be. So I didn't watch the game. I didn't follow the game, to be honest with you. I was of the opinion that although I said we'd win or draw, whatever I said, because of our past record there, it had something about it that made you think, if Tranmere score first, they're going to score 2 or 3, because we haven't got the balls and we haven't got the fight to try and get it back. And you see that. We've seen it over the county ground over the years, haven't we? You've seen clubs come to the county ground, normally on a midweek game. Teams like, Oldham and stuff that weren't bad teams when they've done it have come to the county grounds and got sort of turned over 3-0 and not looked interested at all. And that's what I imagine we probably looked like at Tranmere, just sort of rolled over and died. But yeah, if he's made the change of the Scunthorpe game, that's fine. Where we are in the league, we can cut a bit of slack. I think now we must finish in the playoffs. Because we know what we've got in the squad and what we can do. So it's all right saying we didn't nearly have a club, blah, blah, all that bollocks, which isn't true. But yeah, forget that. We have got a club. We know what the team can do. So they need to kick on now. So come on, players, if you're watching this, sort your shit out.
And then as Christian alluded to, Ben, changes were made come Scunthorpe on Saturday, and you were there, and much improved performance and a victory.
Well, yeah, there was a complete change. Firstly, the change in formation. We changed up to a 4-3-3. We played a lot more higher up the pitch. We passed the ball quicker, and we worked the keeper. These just things you just were not doing in the previous weeks. We didn't start brilliantly. The first half was a little bit tentative, shall we say, because we were bang out of form. We were in horrible form. And it took a little bit of time, and luckily Scunthorpe were pretty bad. Their best player was our old player. And we sort of grew into it a little bit. And I thought the first half was okay, because you could see the signs of recovery. I think we all spoke on the group chat, and there was some, like one show was saying it's crap, and that was, still no goals from anywhere, and it's been awful. I actually saw something that was, I saw us trying something different, and there was times where they looked like they're hanging on. Second half was a poor start, and I think there was a sliding doors moment when they missed an absolute sitter after a missed kick from Jojo, where player should just he just scuffed it. If he hit it, it's true and hard. We'd have gone one down and been a different story, because I'm pretty sure the Kieran would have gone toxic. But we didn't, and 5 minutes later, Ian Dollo channeled his inner Glenn Hoddle, and we went 1-0 up.
Oh, Christian's not going to be happy you've made that comparison at all.
Have you seen that pass? He made a 65-yard pass, bent it in between 2 defenders, and McCurdy didn't break his stride. I have not seen a better pass since.
Ben, you come and watch me at Kingsdown on a Monday night with all my fucking fat friends, and I hit a pass like that at least once a game.
Right, but yeah, no, it was cracking, and then that sort of kicked us at the stuff. And as the game got on, we got better and better. We got stronger. Barry got really into the game and looked really threatening, and we looked like the side again. And towards the end of the game, we looked like our old selves, which was good. And it was a home win, which we were all desperate for. So yeah, it was good. A lot better. And credit to Ghana for finally getting it right tactically. And I hope they do the same at Carlisle, because they're there for the taking.
Kieran, are you available for a topic for the moment, or are you still wandering around the shop?
No, I'm at the shop now. I'm just on the way home, so we're all good. Ben mentioned there that Anthony Grant was arguably Scunthorpe's best player. There was a lot made online about he has to get a good reception, this, that, and the next thing. But to some,
it was a bit too much. Where do you stand on it?
It's fucking way too much. Who do we think he is? Do we think he's like Ronaldo or Messi or someone? It's over the top. A fucking banner for a player that's played like 70-odd games for us. He didn't really do much. He was good for one season. I think it was way over the top. Give him a little clap. Say, right, thanks for your service. You did all right. You did come back. He abandoned the club halfway through. Then he came back in pre-season for somewhere to train because no one else would have him. So it's all over the top. It was all a bit too much. And people fucking leaving, crying. You actually have a laugh. And the most embarrassing thing, and I know our fans are fucking embarrassed at times, but saying to an opposition player to shoot, fuck off.
Yeah, that was a bit.
So while you were talking there, both Woody and Christian were shaking their heads. Christian, do you want to come in first in reply to what Kieran said there?
Well, yeah, I think me and Woody, the only two with fucking brains on it. We've been like, I've been supporting the town since like the late 80s, right? And in that time, we've had some legends and we've had some heroes and everything. And over the last few years, we haven't had a player like that. One season, Anthony Grant, when we won the league, was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Yeah. But we don't know what the politics are behind the scenes, okay? We don't know what was going on with him and Sheridan, or whether he didn't really train or whether he was good at training. We don't know all that. But all we know is that one season, he absolutely give it 100%. And he was like a player that we hadn't had in our team for years and years and years. Rolled his sleeves up, got involved, battled, fought, wore the shirt with pride. And, you know, if you can't recognise that as a Swindon supporter, because we've not had it for years. We've not had a player like that for absolutely years. Don't give me this Simon fucking Ferries and all this shit in the world. Anthony Grant was something else. So if our supporters are applauding these players, cheering these players, you know, even when they're playing against us, so what? It's one game. We've won 3-0. Who cares? Show somebody like that we're not a club where you can come and play for us and then just fucking walk out the back door like that saying thank you very much, I'm off to go and play for QPR or whatever. We're a club where your supporters will appreciate what you've actually put in.
No intended shots towards players like Luongo or Gladwin at all there. Woody, did you want to come in on that particular subject?
Yeah, I think the only thing I didn't really like was when Scunthorpe had a corner and we were chanting his name. Or that's the only thing I didn't like. However, other than that, you know, I think when I was walking out the ground on Saturday and somebody nailed it on the head for me. It's actually quite nice to have a player or had a player that had some affection for the club as well, and the fans and the close connection. We've not had that. We didn't even have that when we won League Two in terms of Di Canio and things like that. We didn't have that. Ferry had a connection because he was kind of he was a humorous character. Yeah, he was a humorous character, and he was part of a good team. Caddis maybe to a certain extent, but then Caddis wasn't very close to the fans. But with Grant, and you could see how much it meant to him. I mean, even during the game, you know, when they were chanting his name and things like that, you could see him acknowledging it as well. And and I think more the reason it was probably, if some see it as overhyped, is because a player like that deserves a send-off, and we didn't get to give him one. You know, we didn't know he was, we guessed he was leaving, but we didn't know he was actually going to leave. So I think, like I say, I didn't really like the chanting his name to shoot and things like that. But, you know, when there was a break in play and stuff like that, I quite liked it. You know, at the end of the day, he was a quality player for us. And to be fair, we say he only had one good season or one great season, but he probably did more for us in that great season than some so-called really good players have done for us in 5-6 seasons. I'm on the side that he deserved what he got. I just personally didn't chant when he was attacking a corner against us.
As I alluded to in the intro, this episode's a lot about questions and points that have been sent in by people, and this is the perfect time, Ben, to ask you about one that was sent in by a friend of the show and regular question asker, Oaks Road, asking, were you surprised to hear the 9K crowd announcement People were, I mean, he was saying he was in the town end, and those that were around him saying there was no more than 8K there, definitely.
Well, pre-game on the group chat, we were having a bit of a chat about this, and there was the mention of gates now probably going to drop after Tranmere because fans have had enough. And, you know, there was a chance that we were going to turn up and then we were going to see the same, you know, 3-5-2 and the same sort of thing, formation again. And it'd been pretty dire. But if that's the number, and it was 9,000, there's no reason to doubt it. They do count season ticket holders as well. So it probably wasn't that much. And there's probably also tickets from schools as well to also bump it up a little bit. There's probably a few hundred kids there, but it's still decent numbers. So I still think it's a pretty good turnout, to be fair. I didn't think it looks a bit small for 9,000. So I thought it was quite a good turnout. I was quite impressed, especially when there's only about 100 away fans. So yeah, well done.
You know, that's the exact same figure that came over Twitter. There was no more than 100 away fans.
Yeah, there was minimal amount. And I think one thing I did like about it was, although we did stick to slightly our principles, there was an attacking game as well. So I'm hoping if there were new kids coming from schools and things like that, you know, hopefully that, you know, it's about time we did something like that and we won. You know, I remember, wasn't it earlier on in the season when they had like 20 odd schools there and we lost 1-0 or something. And it's just like, so, you know, hopefully, I know, but I'm not going to beat around the bush. It was only Scunthorpe and they were poor. They were poor. I wasn't too worried about not scoring in the first half because, you know, we don't have the luxury of a squad where you can practice a formation 11 against 11 on the training pitch. So the first half was always going to be a bit slow, but you could see the attacking intent straight away, which is what I personally quite liked. You know, we knew the Scunthorpe were going to be weak and we punished it. And it was just nice to see for a change that we punished a weak side. So yeah, and I'm just hoping that, you know, we either take that forward in terms of form. Garner's learned his lesson, as Christian said earlier, hopefully learned his lesson. That, you know, sometimes you do have to change in League Two. I've always said that sometimes you need to be a better manager in League Two than you do in the higher divisions because you don't have the money to cop yourself out of things. But yeah, hopefully we'll wait and see what happens on that. I think Saturday will be a big teller, to be honest. It'll be a big teller in terms of whether last Saturday worked or not.
Yeah, Christian?
Did Woody forget what the question was?
It's because I wanted to make that point earlier, but because I didn't realise we were reviewing the Scunthorpe game earlier.
Mate, he always asks the best questions to the most knowledgeable people, mate. All you had to do was talk about the attendance. That's it.
Woody, you are free to discuss any topic you like as long as you can segue it into whatever was said just before you. Make sure it makes sense is all I ask. Look, hang on, and let's just point out that's coming from the guy who, when we were discussing training facilities last week, went on a 15-minute rant about the Oasis.
on that stuff, no.
Yeah, let's not go there again, please.
I think the Oasis make a great training.
Shut up, Ben. I'll fucking switch you off if you carry
fucking
on.
Attendances. Talk about the attendance. Christian, attendance. What do you want to
Attendance wanker.
We're recording a day later than usual this week because, as the generous boss I am, for my free of charge labour, I gave them all Valentine's night off for the Fools Rush In wives and girlfriends. So I tried to think up something Valentine's themed for the first question post match reviews. And the best I could come up with is, during your time supporting Town, so this will go to all of you, who are the one or two players that you've had that sort of romance or man crush with? Woody, we know you're going to say Lee Peacock, so try and think of someone else.
We know Christian wants to fuck out the figure.
So I'll go in reverse order as you appear on the screen. So Kieran, who have been your STFC man crushes stroke bromances?
You can't include me.
No, we didn't say Cheltenham, mate. Probably Lee Peacock. Lee Peacock was one. He's sort of the first player that I sort of really liked.
Is that just because of New Year's Eve?
No, I fell in love with him more when we kept getting closer and closer. Didn't take me home though. Very good. But no, so
Did anyone?
Lee Peacock, I think, had a real romance with Simon Ferry, not because he was the best player, but more the humorous side of him. And he was sort of relate to him, sort of one of the lads. And it's always got Charlie Austin as well. One of the best players I think I've seen in a Town shirt. His goal scoring and sort of one of the best seasons I've watched that involved him. So
He'd have probably shagged you.
Shagged everyone else.
Would he?
Can't comment when I know Charlie Austin's wife. Well, I don't. My other half does. Without obviously Lee Peacock, obviously without saying him, but I wouldn't even say that was a bromance thing. I just liked him.
You more than liked him.
Miglaranzi, I'll tell you what, that guy. Oh, what a model.
Is Danny Invincible coming out next?
Oh, Danny Invincible cracked me up because that year that I can't remember if we won, we went up, and I just remember bumping into him in Tesco's buying Fosters, and I just thought it was brilliant the fact he was buying Fosters. But yeah, no, I can't even. But yeah, I'd probably say Miglaranzi from when I was really young, and not Kate.
Christian.
There's never been a more beautiful footballer. Glenn Hoddle. Oh, what a physique! Back then, he was gorgeous. He was like, you know what I mean? Glenn. If I was going to go for a bloke, I'd go for Glenn. And on a serious note, I had a lot of love before him. I had a lot of love for the late great Alan McLaughlin. Alan McLaughlin was a lovely bloke, lovely character, lovely personality. We've talked about some previous episodes, but you'd go 10 years without seeing him, and you'd see him getting tapped on the shoulder. So, hello, mate, how are you? How are you going? Alan McLaughlin, lovely bloke, lovely personality. So, Glenn Hoddle and Alan McLaughlin for me.
Ben? Do you want some tissue here, Christian?
I agree with Christian with Glenn Hoddle. Actually, he was like, saw him play in my first ever Swindon game, and just watching him play, I took it for granted at the time. I just thought it was the norm having someone like that play for us. I'm lucky to have witnessed someone like that play for Swindon, but I wish I was just a bit older to appreciate him more. But I still remember him pulling off tricks and stunts and playing balls in my head 30 years after he's done it. And like that goal that remember when we beat Tranmere 2-1, and I think he just scooped the ball over the Tranmere platform, and I like to watch it. And Dave Mitchell was just running around the back at him and stuck it past Eric Nixon. It was just magical stuff. So yeah, Glenn Hoddle, fully with that, Christian, 100%. Big part right, I'm a Swindon fan. And the other one, we broke my heart when he left, Jan Fjortov, when he got sold. I think I shed a tear that day because I knew we were screwed.
That was your take that of broken up moment, was it?
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was I was at 14 at the time. We got dumped out the League Cup in the semi-final after Bolton, and I'd resigned. He was leaving then. Because we got to the final, he would have stayed, and we'd stayed in the Championship, but we couldn't hold on 15 minutes. And yeah, that was that. But yeah, Jan Fjortov was the other one. He was an absolute hero, top player. At the time, the second half of the Premier League season, he was almost, I'd say he would make pretty much any team in the Premier League. He scored 13 goals in the second half of the season for the worst team in the Premier League. How many goals would he have scored for Man United or a top team? But yeah, good striker at the time.
I think if you're going along the basis of pure physical looks, then I think Swindon have had one or two not bad looking chaps over the years. But my choices for that particular question are a bit more niche than you guys going with the mainstream players. I've gone for fuck off.
Can I see your hands, please, Fifey? Can I see your hands?
Yeah.
Carry on.
Oh, this pod isn't the same anymore. This pod isn't the same.
Yeah. My two choices for that question would probably be Douglas and Zabu. I don't know why.
Definitely not gone for looks at Douglas, have you?
Scottish, wasn't he?
Looks like caveman sort of thing, isn't it? Yeah, I get it, mate. Yeah, a bit of rough.
But no, they were just two players who I always enjoyed when they played for Swindon. So
Douglas was a weird one because he had such a great first season, but it was awful the second season. He was like he'd gone from hero to not very good.
Well, that was all about the clicks, wasn't it?
We could do a whole show on Jonathan Douglas. Honestly, honestly, what he did, he's probably the main reason we went down that season after. I'm not going to say any more, but I can't forgive what he did when he had the Leeds contingent in with him. We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
I was there when Douglas scored, though, so fucking brilliant. We got relegated
for Wednesday.
The same day. Yeah, relegated the same day. Woo!
So moving on, then we've got a couple of questions to put towards you about stuff that we've covered in the past, and we can have a bit more of a discussion about it. And Christian actually asked me to bring the first one in that I'm going to raise, and it's about where you currently stand in terms of safe standing at the county ground. Would you bring it in? Where would you have it? That kind of thing. So as you raise the point, Christian, what's your view on it?
My view is probably going to differ to a lot of people's, because I think the town end, which is what a lot of people are going to say is the obvious answer, the acoustics in there are absolutely shite. So if you're sitting anywhere else in the ground, from the edge of the 18-yard box at the town end, you can't really hear people. They might think they're really loud and everything in there because they can hear it's coming back at them from that low roof. It's not. I think personally the best place to have safe standing at the county ground would be the part of the Arkle stand that was redeveloped in 1992-93, aka the front of the Arkle stand, that part. So if you put in safe standing, I think across there, the acoustics would be fantastic, and that would be my choice.
Would it?
Yeah, I would probably agree with Christian on that one. I agree massively with the point about the town end, that because of the way it's built, the acoustics are crap, and it does sound louder when you're in it than it does the rest. If we did do safe standing with a bit of redevelopment, you could probably put it at Stratton Bank end as well. But yeah, the lower tiers, maybe the lower tier of the Don Rogers, just have it kind of all the way across the lower tiers of the three other stands, minus the town end. I think that that would work well. I think if you ask a lot of people now why they stand in the town end, it's because they can stand in the town end, not for the atmosphere. So I like Christian's point about the bottom tiers of the Arkle.
Ben?
I would knock the town end down and make that big, and then have a big terrace, and have it designed for the home fans to stand and sing, and have it designed so it echoes and resonates and makes it bigger, because it's going to get knocked down by the county ground. It will be made into a proper stand. The stat will, because we can't do a lot of the bank because the house is behind. So there's a big car park behind the town end, so they'll do some of that. So I'll knock the town end down and make that into a big copish type all standing area, and have that made so it echoes, and make tickets nice and cheap.
Sorry, Christian, you want to come in again?
Christian, yeah.
Has anybody else answered? Let everyone else answer, then come back to me, Fife. You've just got another point of just
yeah, no worries. Kieran?
Yeah, I'd do it bottom half of Don Rogers as it currently stands. Pardon the pun. Yeah, there we go. Probably do it across there because town end is just awful. It does need to be knocked down and redeveloped, and that could be considered it then. I'd maybe even do, when we redevelop, if we redevelop the county ground, I'd maybe even do what Bournemouth did and try and maybe turn the pitch around, and have it go in a different way and create the Arkles into a big end, or the Don Rogers into a big end, keep it as it is, and sort of make two smaller stands on the side.
Okay. Christian, do you want to come back in?
Was that everyone? Yeah, I mean, I did say the Arkles and not the Don Rogers, and the reason for that is the way that the layout is. The layout is like a perfect, where they built that bit on the bottom, where I think the Don Rogers has got sort of stairs and this and that, and it's a bit like a. So yeah, I mean, I would say the Arkles, even if you need to move the dugouts, that's another subject for another time. The dugouts are really embarrassing now. let's be honest, bloody stapled on seats from the old bloody director's box. They need to sort those out as well. If you look at a game, if you look at a home game or watch it on TV, you'll see that all the rows behind the dugouts are never taken before the game. So they need to get rid of those and bring the dugouts possibly back into the Arkle stands. So those first few rows, watch it next time you watch a game, just look, because nobody sits in the first few rows behind the dugouts.
No, they've not sold them for years because you can't see anything behind the dugouts, so they can't sell them.
Exactly that.
You can't even sell them as restricted view because there is literally, you cannot see any of the pitch. So they need to bring it back. They may as well bring it back, and it's a waste of seats.
Yeah, exactly that. Bring it back, lose the dugouts, bring it back into that stand, and it'd be a bit like, I'd say, Wembley. Wembley's an example, isn't it, where they have the seating like that, back in the stand. My other point was, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, I don't know if you know, but we never actually needed to go all-seater as a ground. The year we were in the Premier League, I think the rules came in that if you're in the top two tiers by 1995 or something like that, or 1996, you had to be all-seater. So we went ahead and made the county ground all-seater, but obviously we dropped the season after, or dropped in 1994 into one of the bottom two tiers under McMahon. And in that season, they changed the ruling and said, well, no, you don't need to unless you're in the... So we're a bit unfortunate in that sense that we didn't actually ever need to go all-seater, but you know, we did that.
Next topic for you then, links into something I know Woody spoke about a few times in previous episodes, and Ben briefly mentioned it today, but a post from the club's official socials today about the letter from the fan got me thinking. And if you haven't seen it, it is a post worth looking at. A letter that Swindon Town received today from a young fan who can't get to games at the moment. Should kids, and I know we spoke about school initiatives in the past, but should there be more done to get kids into watching Swindon Town? So I know I got a message when I retweeted it from our Twitter account saying that kids should get a free ticket with a paying adult anyway if they're in like up to a certain age. Where do you all stand on perhaps doing initiatives where kids under, I don't know, 10, 11, 12?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
We sell tickets for about £1 or £2 permanently for kids. We can't have it at a pound because kids for £1 you're only allowed to do it a certain amount of times under EFM rules for promotions and that. But we set it as low as we can, which is about £2 for an under 11. And we also do, I'm pretty sure you get a child season ticket for about £30 for a season if they're with an adult one. So I don't think there's a lot else. Maybe promoting how much the under 11s tickets are, but I don't really know what else you can do. It's as cheap as it possibly can be under the rules. Maybe we do need to do more kids for kids promotions because I don't think we've done one yet this year, but we can only do it so many times a year. So I don't think there's a lot else really other than giving schools the tickets and maybe widening the broad it to wider Wiltshire if we can to give more tickets, not just schools in Swindon, because we used to get them in our way in Chippenham and stuff. But there's not a lot of else I don't think can be done really on that.
Ben? Sorry, did I interrupt you there?
Ned was messaging. So I just thought I'd,
Ned's there, fuck him.
Do you know what? The kids thing, that's how I started watching Swindon, or following Swindon. I was playing for South Cerney, and there was an initiative and they gave us free tickets. So I watched my first Swindon Town game doing through that. So that's how I came hooked. Freddie, who's my youngest, it's £30 for a junior Robins, and he gets a season ticket, and he gets lots of schemes where he goes like Christmas party, end of season party. They send him like a little email, birthday card, all that little thing. So the club do very, very well, and there's an initiative for schools. I think they've done brilliant. Just keep doing that.
Woody?
I think we do quite a lot already. I agree with Kieran. I think we do. We've got, like you say, the schools. I can't remember how much it is for me to take Arlo or Melek, who are obviously two different ages in terms of 14 and 5. But if I'm brutally honest, and this is going to sound risky, but especially because we've had good crowds this year, generally the way to get kids involved is to lower the adult prices. You lower the adult prices, the adults are more likely to take the kids.
Yeah.
It's a risky strategy, but I'm trying to remember, was it Bradford that did it a while ago? I mean, they had their cheap season tickets.
Bradford have
been
doing the cheap season tickets, haven't
You
they?
get a free season ticket with a Happy Meal at Bradford.
Yeah, but they've got, they've had good consistent crowds, for a long time. So yeah, I generally think if you want to generate more ticket sales, you've got to go one way or the other. You've got to kind of maybe take the risk strategy and lower adult prices, or maybe even lower adult prices would be the way to get people to take their kids, because also the hospitality side of it, the canteen side of it and all that kind of stuff. Like, I know if I go to the football, it might only be £1 to take Arlo or £2 to take Arlo, but it's going to cost me £5 for a burger for him. Then I'm going to go in the shop when it's open, and that's what all stacks up. I think it's not the kids' prices itself, it's all the stuff that surrounds the kids' prices.
Because when it comes to taking kids, it's not you're taking a kid to the football, it's a day out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Christian?
I bash the club quite a lot, but I won't bash the club over what they do for children. I think all in all, I mean, a lot of it's driven by, I'd say, in the past, I'd give the previous regime no credit at all. The community foundation is absolutely fantastic what they do for the local community, children, and other groups who are possibly underrepresented in society. I think they do a fantastic job. What I would say, going back to the letter or that came out today, or anything, any other thing in that situation, where if it's and I hope it is genuine, not a hoax, and it is it's a genuine thing. What we've got at Swindon is we've got a really good community of supporters where I think we all rip each other to bits and take the piss. But if anyone ever was struggling to get a ticket or anything like that, you'd like to think that person or that family could come to the rest of us by way of one of the fans groups or anything like that, and we as supporters, I think we always at Swindon, we always help each other out.
Yeah.
So if there was ever a family that was struggling to get tickets for a game or whatever, I don't think for 1 minute that we as an STFC family would let that happen.
No, I mean, in response to the post itself, I've seen it on Facebook and on Twitter, and you've had people offering to donate their season tickets to for the games when if they could make it. For example, I've seen people offering to pay for the kid and his family to go and buy them separate tickets, stuff like that. I've seen people tagging in like the various fans groups and supporters clubs and stuff to see is there anything we can do. So you're right, Christian. Particularly, obviously, we can only focus on our club. I'm sure fans up and down the country would say, well, our club would do the same. But Swindon fans would come together in this situation and would always say, yes, we will sort this out one way or another.
Right,
we do look after each other, and for that we are in my heart and my head, we're one of the best clubs in the country, because that's what we do. We look after each other and look after our own. So,
and you were going to say something then as well.
Oh no, I was just saying that. I think we've properly looked after him. I'm just echoing what Christian said. I was just in agreement, really, that we've been fantastic. The actual, we're in credit to the fans in general, that they all stood up and offered stuff. They even offered them a week shopping, which is remarkable. So it's all credit. We all pulled together when we needed to. So what Christian was saying.
On the point then, and Christian, I'll start with you, because again, it's one of the points that you raised in our WhatsApp chat. But echoing what Woody said about it being a day out, let's look at it from the more adult perspective. And you wanted to ask where everyone's favourite pre-match pubs were.
Yeah, I thought it'd be interesting. It's interesting. It's a different subject. Shake things up a bit, and also it was I'm interested to know people that are watching this podcast on YouTube or whatever, what they think. Is there somewhere where I or other people are missing out? Because I'll probably give you the most boring or predictable 3 suggestions possible, and perhaps some of us will. Is there somewhere pre-match where you all go for a drink, which is like, this place is fucking boss, you know what I mean? So what I suggested was we all of us give our 3 best pre-match pubs, and
Christian
see what
wants some new friends, so he wants to know where they all are, basically.
Yeah.
I think Christian's done a really interesting discussion point here, and all Kieran's done is take the piss.
I think there's probably going to be a lot of people like thinking, all right, that's where he goes pre-match. Okay.
Well, go on then, Christian. Start us off. What's your 3?
So for me, I would go in 3rd place. I'd go the County Ground Hotel. It would be higher, but they've never got enough staff in there. And that place should be a gold mine on match day. On the floor, there should be people walking around selling bloody Jaeger bombs, 2 for a £5, and bottles. But unfortunately, they just not commercially got it right there. But for atmosphere, 3rd place would be the County Ground Hotel. 2nd place is purely a price and location thing. If you're coming into the town off the train or whatever, I'd go Sir Dan's. I'm not really a big fan of Weatherspoons, but that place, the prices are good. Nice open space. It's somewhere where you'd go to before, somewhere closest to the grounds. My number 1, I think for me, is the Tap and Barrel. I like the pre and post match sort of ska music, that kind of thing. The atmosphere in there. It's a little bit dark. It's a little bit what pubs used to be in the 70s and 80s. So Tap and Barrel would get my choice as 1st place.
Kieran?
Yeah. So we can all let them know, Christian, where you go, so we can find some friends. So 3rd place for me would be the County Ground Hotel. Mainly, it could be so much better. There's normally an atmosphere. It just takes so long to get a beer in there. You're looking at like spending more time getting a beer in than you probably actually spend drinking beers in there. They need to sort that out, and the card machines as well are so old, but it's all right. But yeah, they could do. It just needs to be easier to get a pint, more staff on there, or another outside bar, and you're sorted. It would be a bit higher. 2nd place, probably be the waiting room. No, I don't know. It's 2nd and 1st place. I like the Tap. I don't mind the Tap and Barrel if you're in the mood for that sort of day. If you're out of session, you want sort of music and stuff, and you can watch like sort of pre-sports and the sort of early kickoff in there. It's sort of got a bit of a proper atmosphere, like sort of dark and dingy sawdust pub, which I quite like. But another one that I quite like. That's cheaper, if not sort of. Yeah, sort of same price, if not a little bit more expensive, maybe a bit cheaper in times than Weatherspoons. It's called the Waiting Room in Swindon. It's opposite Sir Dan's. I know quite a few people go in there before a game now because it is quite cheap. It's obviously close to town if you're coming into town, and they've got pool table in there and got sports on the telly. I think that's quite a pre-match pub to go to before a game. So that'd be my 3.
Okay.
Which was number 1, Kieran? Waiting Room.
It depends. It's a sort of tie between joint first in Waiting Room and Tap. It depends what sort of day you're having on the bit.
Joint. So can we have a 2nd and a 1st, please?
Fucking, I don't know. I'll go Waiting Room top, Tap 2nd.
Thank you.
Diva.
Woody?
Sad little prick in a sad little list.
I'd love to have time to go somewhere for a pre-match pint, to be totally honest. 3rd, County Ground Hotel. I haven't been there for a while, but when I used to go, it was decent, except the service, as the guys have already mentioned. I'm probably gonna go Sir Dan's as well, because I'm just thinking of places I've gone to recently. So 2nd would be Sir Dan's, especially if I'm on an all-dayer. Unfortunately, I am going to have to go for the Tap for the top. There is a bias thing for that because my in-law is the landlord there, landlady there. So it's so there is a bit of bias there. But no, when I have been in there, it's it's a good atmosphere, as Christian said.
You know what you've just done though? Christian didn't know that before.
I'm thinking back to the two beers that I tried to chat up behind the bar there and thinking.
I don't think it would have been either of them. I don't think. But
Ben, it's obviously you tend to go more as a family man these days.
Yeah, these days we're going back like a few years back to the Paolo days when I used to have quite a few beers and that before the games and after the games. But yeah, before an away day, used to head off to the to Sedan's. It's a local derby away day. Used to meet up there before getting the train to a local game. That was quite good. So that's my number 3. Number 2, again, quite predictable. County Ground Hotel. Biggest fault is it takes ages to get served, but it's also good, especially on a away day when you have a bit of a sing-song and a beer garden and all that. So it's quite good in there. And when it's quite busy and there's always people there, you can always bump into and have a bit of a chat.
On an away day, what do you just sit there?
No, the Sedans. I mean a big derby day. I mean, not.
Where are we today?
Carlisle.
Carlisle. Well, it's fucking 5-3. Where are we going to get to the ground that quickly? We're the wrong fucking pub. Are you sure it wasn't? I thought it was at home.
Yeah, number 1, the Tap. Again, I think you appreciate it if you're a certain age because the music is pretty good. I do love a bit of ska. And if you are 30, 35, 40 plus, then you love it because it gets you going. It puts you in the mood. And
or faithful.
Tap number 1.
Is that what you and Sarah played to get you in the mood? Woo!
No, Sarah's never been to either one. Sarah's never been to any of them. She hasn't been to it. It's not a thing. I wouldn't take her to one of those pubs.
So, quick bit of mental maths then, Christian. Does that mean the Tap won your little survey?
Have you not got any,
Sorry?
Have you not got any?
Well, I'm as you know, I'm not really a drinker, so I've never really been anywhere before games. And having moved away for most of my adult life, there's only been a couple of games I've actually had a pre-match drink for, so it's not really worth my vote, if I'm honest.
You went to the pub before the Man City game, so you can vote on that
subject. We'll do the next subject, and I'll add the totals up and come back to me.
But for what it's worth, because it's
hard to work out.
Because it's not been said. Because it Kieran, where did we go before the Man City game? Because it was all right in there.
The Queen's Tap.
Yeah, it was all right in there.
Followed by Foxes.
Because my next question, my next question would have been linking into this. We've all gone with sort of pretty much the same 3. So, other honourable mentions, because there are other pubs. I've heard, I think quite a lot going Swiss Chalet. Queen's Tap would be another one. I will never, ever, 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 never, never, ever, ever drink in that one that's by the county ground. What's it called?
Merlin.
For the fact that on that Oxford game where a Swindon supporter could not get a drink anywhere in town, that place opened at 9 o'clock to let the Oxford supporters in. They made that decision. I will never, ever, 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 never, 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 ever, ever drink in the middle. And people say, oh, it's different manager now. It's still the same company. So that place, no chance. But it would get a mention.
Not like you to hold a grudge.
Well, you know.
But we will. I do think it's an interesting question. So once the episode goes out tomorrow, I will then post the question as its own thing to see what we get from people who follow our Facebook and Twitter accounts.
It'd be interesting.
It's good. Yeah.
So if good question. Answer in the comments, and we might all be just totally wide of the mark and missing somewhere that's absolutely fucking amazing on match day. I'm interested about Swiss Chalet, to be honest with you. I think a few go there, and the Queen's Tap as well off the train. So if people could comment in the comments below and on YouTube and let us know.
But while you confirm, I believe it finished County Ground, Sedan's, Tap and Barrel in that order. Just so you know, that's how I think it worked out without writing anything down. But while he checks that, Christian was full of questions this evening, and he wants to know, do any of you have any match day routines or superstitions? I'll be honest, weird reaction to that question.
Kieran, all right?
I'm trying to think if I do. I don't think that I do. I might do something sort of autonomously that I don't realise I'm doing, but I don't think that I have any particular routines or superstitions. How about you, Ben?
Not really. Parked in the same place I've always parked since I've been going. When my dad used to take me when I was little, and it's free parking in Gorse Hill. Get there early enough, it's free. I've just advertised that to everyone. There's been no space.
Yeah, that's it. So that's it. Never anyone anymore. Well done, Ben.
But yeah, it's no, not really. No, not routines. Not something I do religiously each day before, which is odd for me because I'm a weirdo. So,
Woody. And interestingly for you, Woody, not just match days, but when you're coaching, is there when you see like Soccer AM or anything back in the day would always ask players, do you put your shin pads on in a certain order or something? Is there anything that you do as a coach or that the girls do that there's a routine?
I put my shin pads on. I actually do. It's the only day when I'm I don't have any on a match day watching, but in terms of coaching and match days, it's the only day you can guarantee I'll have something for breakfast. It's a really strange one, but I don't always eat breakfast. I'm more of a late night person. But you can guarantee a cup of coffee and a breakfast and a shower are the three things I have to tick off on a match day. If I don't do it, if I don't do any one of those, you can guarantee it's going to be a bad warm-up's going to go bad, team talk's going to go bad, the match is going to go bad. But that's about it, really.
Shower.
Fucking stink. He fucking stinks Monday to Friday.
We all have a shower every day.
You know what I mean? Like,
once a week.
As soon as you said it, you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Could I be saving water? That's all I want to know.
You wait till summer comes along. It goes 3 months without one.
Fucking twat.
Christian loves a bath.
Yeah, but trust me, lads. If you ever coach morning football on a Sunday morning, for example, or something like that, trust me, every now and then a morning shower is sometimes the last thing on your mind, and you're just about to go out in the rain. But that's probably it. Oh, and also laying out all of my stuff the night before. Always, my football kit is out the night before.
I'm going to go to Kieran next because Christian looks like he's having issues. Kieran, do you have any match day superstitions?
No, just make sure you're all empty before you go and.
Doing his match day ritual.
I always iron my shirt as that's why the iron's here, and I always make sure I haven't washed my hair.
You pulled the shirt off me at Butlins and begged me to iron it. Don't even
I love the internet.
This is strictly going on a no under 18s one again then. Christian, your question, do you have any match day superstitions? You've got to have both tellies on at the same time to be able to show both Cheltenham and Swindon.
It's a drink day for me, to be honest with you. So leave the car at home, get the bus in. I always try and be in a pub 2 hours before a game. Drink football, no. Considering I pose a question, I don't really have any. But I think start with Soccer AM. Soccer AM every morning. I think it's underrated. People still moan about bloody Lovejoy and that Helen Chamberlain, but it's all right. I think they've got the Pro-Am and the
the drill
the wrong way round. The Pro-Am should finish the show. Still decent, so I'll watch that and then I'll normally have a quick shower and.
Just on that, I would say, although I do see people do knock it because it's not like it was when it was Lovejoy and Chamberlain, I actually think it's not too bad at the moment, Soccer AM. I think it went bad and it's got better again.
Yeah, it is. It is quite good, and it's condensed into a lot shorter show now. But I think the best feature on it by a million miles is the pro-am that they do, and that should really be at the end of the show, because Jimmy Bullard's being Jimmy Bullard, you know what he's like. With that, you know the drill. That's his little fucking look at me sort of shit. That should probably go in at 11 o'clock, where the pro-am currently sits.
At the weekend, it was the Super Bowl, as we know, and some of you guys here and that usually are not going to make it today do like a bit of American football. But I saw a tweet, and this isn't specifically about Swindon, although we can talk from a STFC perspective if you want, but wider in terms of the English game. There was 2 tweets I saw that I found very interesting. One was a tweet that said, when you see The Rock opening the Super Bowl and then all those stars in the halftime show, this is why you need this game to be a lot more celebrity-fied, if you like. Fuck's sake, I tried so hard. Let's try this again.
We're live, mate. We're recording.
I know. And we say the reason we don't edit it is so you could get the raw emotion of what we're saying.
You might have to edit this one.
I know. Fuck's sake. Right, let's try this again. When you see everything, all the glitz and glamour around the Super Bowl, and people saying this is what's wrong with English football, is we don't do things as big as they do. I personally completely disagree. I do not want The Rock introducing the FA Cup final. I do not want, Stormzy, and as good as Stormzy is and Ed Sheeran is and all these other global superstars are, I don't want them doing a flash production at halftime.
Imagine that Preston game. Imagine that Preston game where we're 2-0 down, and you got fucking halftime show by like fucking Eminem or someone. Like you don't want that. And
I think
it's all, and like they go on about the Super Bowl being like the most amazing show on earth, whatever, and the most biggest sporting event on earth. There's more fans at Wembley for the Checker Trade Trophy final between Portsmouth and Sunderland.
That's it.
That's because it's at Wembley. Like the difference with the Super Bowl is they rotate where it's actually played. So that's why it's only got a capacity where it was. Has only got a capacity of 70 odd fans.
A load of shite.
But he also watched The Rock when he introduced it. This is the greatest team in franchise history. That word runs a shiver down my spine. Franchise. That's what it is. LA Rams disappeared for years, and these teams just being made up called Someone Panthers. There's no history about them. It's just cheesy, horrible sport. It's just not. There's no soul in it. No soul at all.
So my question is simply, do you think that football in this country should be more glitz and glamour like that? Or are you happy with our sticking to our roots and what we do? Ben, you're first on my screen, so I'll let you answer first.
Your roots. I like football the way it is, and I don't need to get any more glitzy or show busy as much as it was. But I like football's raw emotion and passion. Just keep it like that.
Woody?
As an NFL fan, I would say keep football as it is. That's the Super Bowl thing. Just keep that as a Super Bowl thing.
Christian?
I think we could learn a lot from the Super Bowl, because I appreciate what you're saying, Ben. I really do, about keep it as it is. I love football, but I think at the moment, let's be honest. Let's all be honest. There is a fundamental problem with the FA Cup. The way everyone's gone quiet over it. It's the same British thing about we all keep our mouths shut and get on with it, but
no one can ever accuse you of keeping your mouth shut.
Can I finish, please? You go back 20, 30 years when the country didn't have such amazing stadiums as it does now, and you've got FA Cup semi-finals being played at the likes of Hillsborough, Aston Villa, Stamford Bridge sometimes, Old Trafford. you know, what are we doing now? Pure FA greed means we're playing the semi-finals and the fucking final at Wembley. What incentive, what excitement does that give you? You know, even when Wembley was closed, we used the Millennium Stadium for a few years. What a lovely, brilliant day out that would be. Use the Millennium Stadium for semi-finals, you know, and other places like that. So I'm going slightly off topic, but I get what you're saying, Ben. I totally do. We love the game. We love the traditional game. However, I think FA Cup final day especially should be something special. And it used to be. You guys all know I acquired a lot of programmes recently, and I'm reading through them very slowly. A lot of them are FA Cup finals. You look through the pre-match routine, and it's fantastic. We've got the drum corps of the la 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 la. We've got this. We've got sing Abide With Me before the game. We've got all this. Your problem would be having a halftime show. Your problem would be, and I don't know if Woody or someone else would know, because American footballers don't know how they do it differently. But with footballers, you'd have to extend the half-time, you know, and is that an issue with warming up, warming down, or keeping warm? I saw one of the Rams players was sat watching the show the other night, like during the break. So that might be an issue. Could you have a 40 to 45-minute show in the middle of the FA Cup final and the players still stay warm? I don't know. But I've gone off subject a bit, but I think we do need to save the FA Cup.
To pick up on that, I completely agree. I think FA Cup final day should go back to being, this is FA Cup final. None of this shit where there's Premier League football going on the same day, there's other football going on. FA Cup final should be its own day. And
grandstand start 9 o'clock.
All I ever hear from people who are older than me is you had from 9 o'clock there would be this, then you'd see the players getting on the bus, then you'd have FA Cup final question of sport, then you'd have this, then you had Greaves, Saint and Greavesy on the coaches and stuff, talking to people. Like, if you go right back. And yes, I would love FA Cup itself, FA Cup final to go back to that. And I even agree with you that semi-finals shouldn't be at Wembley. They should be separated and out of the way.
It started, Fife. It started in 1993, I think, where the two semi-finalists, someone might have to jump in, there was definitely Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United. One semi-final, and the other one might have been Arsenal-Tottenham.
Oh, no, Arsenal-Tottenham was 91. That's Gascoigne.
Who was in the semi-final that year, then?
I can't remember. I remember that because Cork guy scored that Wednesday one, and I think David Hurst.
Remember who was in semi-finals of the FA Cup in 1991, but you can't cook macaroni cheese.
For anyone who didn't catch that is Ben getting warnings again for his Valentine's failures. He can remember FA Cup semi-finalists from 31 years ago, but failed to do macaroni cheese.
Oh, shit, man. Get on Tinder with me. We'll be all right.
He's got a referral code for you.
But I don't remember the other semi-finalists, but I do remember the Steel Derby.
So all of that stuff, I agree with you, Christian. But on the simple question is, do you think football, not just the FA Cup final, but football in general in this country should be more glitz and glam? Do you agree? And Ben's remembered who the other side.
Okay, yeah. To answer a simple question, no, Fifey, because when Sky Sports took on the Premier League in, let's say, I think it was 1992. They went in with the fireworks, the Sky Sports strikers and everything. It was a little bit of a laugh, a little bit of a joke. When we got up to Premier League, we had the bloody Robinettes. It was so no. You don't need to go more glitz and glam. That's a bit silly. But we need to save the FA Cup.
Ben, we'll have our tens of fans shouting at the screen that they know who was in the FA Cup semi-final that year. Who was it?
One of them was Arsenal because they won the final. Because remember, Steve Marrow broke his arm because he fell off Tony Adams' shoulders after they won it. He won the cup. Remember that? They won the cup and then he was on his shoulders and he fell off and then broke his arm. And for ages.
The donkey. But I think I was right. I think it was Arsenal-Tottenham.
Was it Arsenal-Tottenham? Because Arsenal-Tottenham was 91 and Tottenham won that. But it might have been another game. They played a few years later.
Anyway,
What was
this
the
is
point?
a
What was the point of
Arsenal or Spurs pod, so
What
we'll
was
bring.
what was the point of mentioning that semi-final though? I don't think you ever actually got to that bit.
We were just talking about, I think you were going to tell us why it was relevant that they, because the two Sheffield clubs were playing. But anyway, Chris.
No, that's the first year they went there because it. Yeah, sorry, no, you're right, Steve Fifey. That season there were two derbies, which were semi-finals, and it would have been at the time the grounds. I think the biggest ground in the country. I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to throw it out there. Was probably about. Old Trafford about 47,000, Hillsborough about 48, whatever. It was around that figure. All the grounds were about 45,000 max. But Wembley could hold 80,000 back then. So because there were two derby games in the semi-finals, they moved both to Wembley.
Right.
That I'm just saying, I think that's the catalyst, and that's what started it. That's what made it initially go there.
Okay. On the original topic, Kieran, you're the only one who's not had his chance to have his say. Should English football be more showbiz?
No, it doesn't need to be any more showbiz. Keep it as it is. The only thing maybe like say FA Cup finals, introduce a bit more of a day of it to before the game and stuff, a bit more coverage of it, and sort of only the final being at Wembley and have the whole day of the FA Cup coverage. But no more glitz and glam. Fucking don't Americanise it. It's a load of shit. But yeah, wasn't it Christian that said, "Oh, thanks for staying on topic to Woody earlier" or something about attendances?
Our next question in the mailbag is a bit of a personal one for you all.
Tell it, please.
And I think we know that the answer probably, it either absolutely is or absolutely is not Woody, depending on your perspective. But it came, I'm just checking who it came from to make sure I get this right. I believe it was, yes, SN1 Insider just wants to know who from the podcast takes the longest in the shower?
I was a lucky guess.
So I don't know how we're going to base this answer, but we always answer every question we're asked. So we know that Woody only has one on a match day, so we imagine it's probably quite a long one.
Woody's first one in August is probably really long. That taking a long time.
I suppose I've had two this week.
You 2 games this week.
Midweek match.
Yeah. It's postponed. I was well annoyed.
Just roll around in mud for a bit.
All that shower gel for no reason.
So I don't know how we're going to answer it. And any ideas?
We don't know how long each other take a shower, do we?
I'll go first. It's not me.
I'm guessing I take an average amount of time in the shower. I'm not particularly quick, but I'm not in their ages.
Put that as your Tinder bio. I'm not particularly quick, but
I'm not in their ages. Oh man. I'm just going to take a stab and say that Ned takes the longest.
Why doesn't Ben take a step back and let his wife on the pod for a second, and perhaps she can answer for him?
Sarah, how long do I take in the shower?
No, how long?
No, how long do you last?
She's laughing. What?
Move on, Woody.
Right, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm going to say Ned will probably take the longest in the shower.
Ned, there you go.
Anyone want to disagree, or we're all back in Ned for longest?
Yeah, Ned, that's good for me.
Yeah, Ned.
Yeah, Ned.
Yeah, Ned.
Ned's
I'm
my
happy
vote.
with it.
No, I reckon Christian, because if it's anything like a bath, it's fucking ages. I think I left the bar. I think he went in the half time of the Birmingham Derby game. I came back after full time after the Cardiff game, and he's still fucking in it.
And if it's not Ned, it'll be Rich. Rich will be in there forever.
Rich as well. Yeah, Rich probably yeah.
I'll tell you what, you don't get this on Gabe Sutton's podcast, do you?
No.
I reckon Joe Seymour.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
Yeah. I think he's very long in the shower, I reckon.
On a more serious note, again, Oaks Road sent us another one, and a bit more on topic. saying, if worst comes to the worst and we've got another season in League Two next year, do we need to change the whole setup of the first team squad? And he has sent a couple of examples of what he means by that. So I'll just load these up now. He said, we need experienced shithouse defenders, midfield capable of a tackle and a proven goal scorer at this level. We can't have a team of under 23 technical players more suited to League One. You get found out in League Two. What's your view on that one, Kieran?
Yeah, League Two, you need to have rough players, much like you could say Anthony Grant, which is the type of player we could do with sort of roll your sleeves up and get involved in it. It's these sort of players, you can get away with them in League One just about. Even then, you still need some players that can put hard tackles in, but you're going to play teams that have come down from the Championship and have more of these players as well. I don't think in League Two you ain't going to win anything with a squad of kids.
Christian?
Yeah, I think that whole stereotype about League Two or Division 4 footballers all being a bunch of cloggers is a load of crap nowadays, to be honest with you. You've even got players you've even got teams 2 or 3 leagues below League Two that are playing great, attractive football. I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't know. I think we need players like Anthony Grant. I think more of a case of what we need. Do we need a striker? Do we need a defender? We need someone who's. I think we need to own a few players who actually care about the club, and players that we've had over the past few years, like Grant, maybe like Peacock, and that actually come in like. I'm fucking Swindon, you know what I mean? I'm fucking Swindon that will stand up and make themselves known. So yeah, I've not got a problem with under 23 players, but you have to pad it out by having 3 or 4 fucking old heads in there as well to keep it together and drive the team.
Ben?
Echo Christian a little bit. I think you need a healthy mix. You do need a little bit of youth in there. You can't have a load of clog old journeymen in there. But also, if you have a load of kids there and when results start to go against you, you need someone just to keep them up. You need someone experienced who's been there and done that just to keep them going. So you need the right characters. You need the right healthy mix. So you can't have it heavily balanced one way or the other. You've got teams like Bradford who are just full of old clogger journeymen and they'll never make anything, and then you've got teams that just for young players and they always seem to fade away a little bit, so you need a good mix.
Woody?
I kind of agree with Christian, really. I think that there's no real stereotype for League Two anymore. There's players that still would have that stereotype of League Two teams. I think it does help to have that experience, but I think the experience is more to help you get out of the league as opposed to competing in it, if that makes any sense at all. But yeah, I am of that belief that I don't like building a squad full of loan players. I do think that you should really limit to 3 loan players a season, in my opinion. And if you're going to go above that, it should be loan players that you might have an intention of purchasing, like a try before you buy type thing. But yeah, I don't think there's really any.
They do women like
proven
that.
Formula. Sorry.
No, don't ask him to repeat it. Just before we move on to the last couple of topics, and I just want to send best wishes to friend of the show, Si. I don't know if you guys saw his tweet, but he's not long done his England training camps and stuff, and now he's dislocated his wrist and he's out again for a while. So sending our best wishes to him. Hope he recovers quickly and can get back out there as soon as possible.
All the best, Si.
All the best, mate.
Woody, a little roundup for STFC women for the week, please.
The adults didn't play. Only my under 16s played. We drew 2-2 with Derry Hill. So I guess really the main thing to talk about this weekend is the first teamer in the County Cup final against Warminster, down in Melksham. I think it's Melksham. 1:00 kickoff. I did I forgot about this until I messaged in the management chat. We're actually we've got a young lad called Edward Simpson coming along on to take a penalty kick at half time. Now Edward, and I'll get it shared on our socials, but Edward is currently raising money for brain tumor research. I won't go into his full backstory because, to be honest, I don't completely know it, but I think he's been going around different grounds and doing penalty kicks. He is wheelchair ridden and things like that. So and I think it might be against our goalkeeper on Sunday as well. So we'll be welcoming him on Sunday as well, which would be really nice. It looks like I've just looked on his Just Giving page. He's raised over £44,000 already for brain tumor research. So fair play to the young lad. So we'll be welcoming him as he takes a penalty kick at half time as well, which I believe is what he's been doing, going around different grounds as well. So that's the big one for the weekend, the County Cup final.
Well, congrats to him for the money already raised, and good luck to the ladies for the cup final. Let's have a look then at Carlisle away to conclude this episode.
FPL, where I'm still top. Should we just mention that? Yeah, still top. Thanks. Right,
we haven't really spoke about FPL for a while, to be fair, mate. But you carry on basking in your own glory. Carlisle away. Ben, I think it was you alluded to this earlier. I think you used the words there for the taking.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're an awful form at the minute. And if we go about it the way we can do, and if we go with the same manner as we attacked Scunthorpe, there's no reason why we can't come away with victory. In fact, anything but a victory is going to be a little bit disappointing because they're not very good.
It's nice to hear you very confident. What's your score prediction?
I'm going 3-0 again.
3-0. Woody?
They're obviously down that end of the table, so I'd like to think that as we get into the final third of the season, that they're going to be trying to get as much as they can at home now. So hopefully that means they open up against us. And if they open up against us, I generally think we will have a 3 or 4-0 on our hands as well. If they play for a point because they're thinking, can we get a point? Then I think they'll get a point. But hopefully they open up against us, and I think we'll win 3 or 4-0.
Okay.
We can already get a couple.
2-0 Carlisle.
You always have to go the opposite way to everyone else.
No, our boys ain't got the bollocks, have they? So if Carlisle want it, they can take it. So 2-0 Carlisle.
Okay. And Kieran?
I think Carlisle are going to be tougher than we thought we would, because they've probably watched this podcast and seen Ned go off many times and going, "Oh, everyone fucking beats Carlisle." And I think they beat 2-1 last time, said that. So they've probably got that up. They've probably got that up in their training room ready.
They've just got a picture of Ned up in the dressing room.
Ned report, Carlisle shit.
After we beat them, Carlisle is shit. Despite beating us 2-1 earlier in the season at home, but then everyone beats us at home. So if you don't, it's shit. But I think it's going to be a tough game. It's the travelling's got to be a factor into it, and because they'll have so much to blame. But I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Okay. I'm going into it with optimistic mood, and I think we will win 2-0. And I know that Ben, you sent us a couple of things in as well, which we kind of alluded to in terms of favourite players and stuff, and you wanted to know how many points people thought we would get over the next couple of games. Well, what I'll do, if it's all right with you, is I'll leave it with Carlisle, because I think it's a 2-game week next week. So we've got 2 games, I think.
It is indeed, yeah.
So we've got 2 games to look at next week anyway. So unless there's anything else for anyone, I think that brings this episode to an end.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to anyone who watches this, listens, and we will be sticking all these questions out throughout the week. We'd love your opinions on superstitions, on match day pubs, safe standing, everything we've discussed. If you've got an opinion, let us know in the comments on our various socials, and we would love to hear from you. So until next time, good night.
Wake early, sleep when you're dead.